Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Collins, President of ACE Doran. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this afternoon for a call about fuel. We've got several guests with us on the call. First of all, Chad Leiter, Vice President of ACE. Good afternoon, Chad.
Good afternoon, Jim. Good afternoon, everyone on the call. Looks like we're up to 213 participants. So I have a feeling this might be a large call. So thanks for having me on, Jim.
Yeah, I think we had about 230 on our last call, so not bad. We've also got Don Laymiller, Chairman of the Drivers Advisory Board. Don.
Hello there, Jim. Hello, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Don. Appreciate your being here today. And also Lauren Bailey, President of Fuel Manager Services. Lauren, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Thank you for being here. Also, Brian Rosenhammer, Fuel Manager Services Analyst. I'm not sure if Brian's going to be speaking on the call today, but Brian's a fuel analyst and also part of our panel today. So, Brian, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. So the main purpose of the call today is we just wanted to reach out and, touch base with the entire ACE Doran community, drivers especially, fleet owners, agents, employees, just to have an open discussion about what's going on currently in the fuel markets, largely due to what's going on over in Ukraine with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It certainly has fuel going ballistic to records levels that none of us have ever seen before. And we mainly just wanted all of you to know that we are aware of it. We're taking steps to do what we can dealing with our customers, our agents, and our company store managers to make sure that we're addressing the fuel and trying to get the relief to you guys and gals who are paying for the fuel out of your pockets. Also working closely with our fuel partners, TA Petro, Fly J Loves, and so we'll get into more of some of those things. I'll have some more comments later, but I think it'd be appropriate to start out with Lauren just to give us a general update, Lauren, on where things stand at the moment and kind of how we got where we are today. So again, thank you for calling in, and I'll turn it over to you.
You're welcome. Well, the first thing I want to do is let the owners out there understand what happened yesterday, okay? Because we got hundreds of calls yesterday. Where's our discount? Are we losing our discounts? So let me go back and explain what your discounts are. They're twofold. Your discounts are wholesale price, either plus or minus, which is the best that you can get in the industry. And that's why the fueling strategies work, because we can advise you when to fuel, when not to fuel, or hold to fuel. So what happened yesterday? Okay. To put it in perspective, January and February, your average discount was 52 cents, a little bit over 52 cents every time you fueled up. That's across the fleet, the whole Bennett family. Okay. March average is 57. So yesterday, the wholesale prices went up 52 cents in one day. I'm telling you, I've been at this for decades, and even during the Iraqi war situation, we never got to 50 cents and certainly did not get to 97 cents on one trading day. The reason for that, they had lock limits both up and down. So to explain it, what that means, imagine that the wholesale prices are $1. Okay, that's what our price, wholesale plus, and then let's say the posted price is $1.50 or $1.60 a gallon. Okay, now add 52 cents to that number. So what happens is that's why you saw your discounts dropped either 8 cents or 12 cents. Your discounts are structured with wholesale plus or minus versus a retail less. It's called a better of program, meaning you'll never pay more than the cash price. So that's what's happened. Now, in 24-hour period, you went from 8 or 12 cents. Yesterday, we averaged 14-cent discount. Today, if you look at the simple average, your discounts are up about 75, and in some cases over $1. That's what your discounts are per gallon. So I wanted to address that. That's what happened. Now, how do we be proactive about this? Okay. Of the hundreds of calls that I took yesterday, and I'm sure that the operation group took yesterday, those calls were from drivers that either wasn't paying attention or didn't know about the fueling strategies. We issue fueling strategies 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's on the top of your daily discount report that's posted in the Bennett IG. Look at the top line, and you'll see fueling strategies, ... It tells you what's getting ready to happen today, what's getting ready to happen tomorrow. And in some cases, we'll stretch it out for like 3 days, depending on if it's a weekend. So we highly recommend that you look at those and you pay attention to those. If for some reason that you miss that, we're one phone call away. Just give us a call and we'll let you know what you need to do on that. Okay? So hope everybody understands that. If you don't, then feel free to give me a call. Here's what we're looking at. We did get the correction today at 97.3. We're going to get another correction tomorrow of about 16 to 17 cents. Okay, so you've got pretty good situations right now that if you don't need fuel today, you can get it tomorrow, and you'll have around $1.14 windfall that you'll be saving. So looking out, this is where we're at. The production concerns or the filling of the barrels of the Russian barrels that were shut down, those have pretty much been filled by either Venezuela or other methods. The East and West Coast are going to be supplemented or filled via Canada, our partners up north. So what do we do now? Well, what we do now is keep our ear to the rail, and we're watching for any geopolitical nonsense that's happening. That's what I call it. I've been in a lot of these, and all it is nonsense. It's usually one idiot out there that's wanting to take over the world. Well, that's what we're watching. And from a supplier and production standpoint, I think we have a good grip on that. If nothing happens, you should see the market continue to correct itself. So why is it going up today? It's going up today simply to protect themselves over the weekend. I knew the guys I talked to yesterday, I told them, I said, I guarantee you Friday it will go up, and it's up 15 right now. And the reason why they're doing that, they're getting ready to leave for the weekend, and they don't want to be caught short. So I anticipate Monday that they'll continue to start correcting itself down because even with this $1.16, we're still 80 cents up. We need to correct it down to get back to the original point where we started at. And so that's where we're at. Everything is, if we don't have any major blow-ups, we should be getting back to correcting, and your discounts should start falling back where they're at least 52 to 55, in some cases 60 cents. So that's what we're looking at right now, Jim, and I do appreciate it, and we will stand on standby in case anyone has any questions.
Yeah, Lauren, one or two follow-up questions, if I might.
Sure.
As far as you knowing that it was going to be raised on Friday, do you have some guidance that you see about that, or is that just reflective of your years of experience of doing this, knowing that it's going to increase on Friday?
It's kind of like reading the defense. I mean, a lot of it's experience. This is not the first rodeo I've been to, and I kind of know that what they're going to do, and I try to put myself, since I've been a hedger myself, and I used to buy millions of barrels on this. I know what I would do, and it's no different than trying to protect your budget, and those guys are trying to protect their investment. So that's what I do. Yeah. So
I see. Another question. This might be a little bit naive, but I heard this recently, and I just thought it was interesting. Apparently, the U.S. only buys 3% of its oil from Russia. Does that sound right to you? And then if that is true, does it surprise you that there's this much unrest in the U.S. markets, considering Russian oil is really not a large source for us.
Yep. Well, actually, where they're at right now, Jim, they're closer to that 7.5 or 8%, and that increased about 2 years ago, I guess. And they started allowing their stuff to come in. But prior to that, it was averaging less than 3% what we were doing. And so, does it surprise me when you have an interruption like that? No, they're looking for anything and everything to give them justification to go in on the commodity side and go in and protect it. So it doesn't surprise me. So it's a very tight market.
That was the naive part of my question. I think I knew that was the answer, but so I know Chad had a question, but Chad, real quick before we get to you, just a reminder, *3 for questions or comments from anybody that's on the line, *3. So Chad, you had a question?
Yeah, Lauren, thanks for all the information that you've been providing to us, joining the calls that have been put together by Mr. Gentry down at the corporate office in Bennett. It really shows because we stay in tune with our competition, and I know this is a problem for our industry, but I doubt there's very few carriers that are meeting on a daily basis or several times a week to get this information, and we appreciate you doing that. But one question I had, because I share some of our drivers aren't able to get into driver's IG for whatever reason, technical issues or whatnot. So I share your reports, and I got several emails this morning, questioning the 97-cent decrease. I think they were thinking that they were going to see that 97 cents off of the pump price. And in all reality, I think you've already explained that, but could you go in a little more detail on that 97-cent decrease, the 16-cent decrease that we're going to see over the weekend, and just dig down a little bit deeper, because we've got 210 participants on the call, and I think it would just help if you kind of get down into the weeds of that explanation.
Yeah, well, there's two levels or two things that you look at. You look at the wholesale price, which is what the truck stop, that's what they buy at. They buy at the wholesale level. And then you look at the cash price or the posted price on the street. So when I came in 15 years ago, you all were at straight retail less, meaning it was going to be the cash price less 8 cents. And we immediately adjusted that to the wholesale price, either a cost plus or minus. Most of your deals are cost plus 0 or cost minus. That's what you're buying. So what that means is, let's say the Atlanta rack. The rack is where all your suppliers pick up their bulk loads of fuel, and they pick it up there. That is the wholesale price rack point. And so that's where we're pricing at. Whenever I say wholesale, I mean the base price before the taxes and for the margin. And that margin is either a plus or minus, depending on the contract that we have with, let's say, Love's, TA, Petro, Pilot, FlyJ, or whoever it might be, Sap Brothers, Speedways, whoever it might be. So hopefully that I'm explaining that well, but it's everybody here has bought parts and stuff like that, and if you get a wholesale price, there's a markup on that versus the retail price. Wholesale is always the best way to buy anything. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I just wanted to go because some of the questions were, more so this morning in regards to the strategy. They were assuming that, there is a 97 cent, off the wholesale, which you see in our discounts now, more so than you'll see at the pump, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should explain. I
understood that, but that's the part of the strategy, because there's also been drivers that make that comment that there's really no strategy to fueling. Well, in all reality, when it's as volatile as it is right now, there's a lot of strategy behind it. So.
Well, because really the retailers are for better or for worse, if there's a 97-cent drop in what they're paying wholesale, there's nothing that actually requires them per se to drop their retail price 97 cents. So, yeah, a drop in wholesale,
Yeah.
unfortunately, does not necessarily mean a drop in retail.
Correct.
Right.
That's correct. Yeah, it's always slow to drop on the street. That's always been the point. Even if you got a 97-cent drop, I'm not seeing street prices drop that much on today's report. So, and it's always slow to come down. But that's why your wholesale, anything that comes out of my office, when I say there's going to be a 15-cent drop, that's why you've seen here recently, Chad, I've been adding wholesale price. And so for the drivers out there, that's what you're going to pay. So if it's going to drop 97 cents or 5 cents or 14, that's a plus for you. That's money right in your pocket. So.
Right. And along with that point, I'll add, and this has always been a discussion around fuel surcharges and how they work with our customers. Not all of our customers, but a lot of the larger ones, we have a fuel scale already in place. If the price of fuel is X, the fuel surcharge will be Y. When the cost of fuel goes up to this, the surcharge goes to that. And one of the complaints that drivers have had for years is that the surcharge scales seem to lag behind and are slow to react in changes to the price of fuel. And that is absolutely 100% true, because most of those adjust once a week based on the national average of a gallon of fuel. Some only adjust twice a month. So most of those fuel surcharge scales will be adjusted this Monday, as an example, or Monday evening after the price of fuel comes out. But then if there's a sudden spike, and that's going to apply on all loads that are hauled, say, next week as an example. Well, if there's a sudden spike in fuel next Tuesday night or next Wednesday night or something like that, after that surcharge amount is already established, it's not going to correct itself daily. It's not going to correct itself again until the following week. So the upside of that is when this starts to come to an end and fuel starts to go the other way, typically we can pick up a week or so where the surcharges are actually outpacing the decline in the price of fuel. So if that makes sense, I wanted to address that as well. So again, *3 for questions, comments. Don Lehmiller, can we turn it over to you?
Sure. Thanks, Lauren. You guys over there at the Fuel Strategies do save us money if we're using the Fuel Strategy and also using FuelBook and the EFS app, which is now the Card Control. And we've noticed out here on the road that the Card Control, the EFS app, has the Find Fuel. And that seems to be a little more accurate with what our actual discount prices are. We've been seeing some variance between FuelBook and the Card Control app, EFS app. And the EFS app seems to be more accurate. Some places are only showing a 4-cent discount when we were actually getting over $1. It's depending on where you're at and, whatnot. So I recommend everybody, I think everybody has their EFS app to check how much they get paid. But you can also find your fuel on there now and do the routing. The only thing you can't do on that, you can't do on FuelBook, is like route yourself to that truck stop. It's deficient in that, but, it is a little more accurate and just as easy to navigate. It seems to be working a little more consistently than the FuelBook tends to stop working. And then I just want to tell everybody, we can also work on lowering our fuel consumption, slowing down a little bit, which will also help safety and our speeding tickets. Might help our safety score too, just saying. And
very good point, Don. And we can use some help in that area right now, so thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I talked to a few guys. They drove 5 mile an hour, so they were running 70. They dropped down to 65, and they seen 6 to 7/10 of a mile to the gallon better. And we're just totally blown away by you didn't 5 mile an hour would make that much difference. But airflow isn't linear to speed, or air resistance, I mean. So the fact you go, it kind of jumps up in big steps. So 5 mile an hour might put you below a step where you just get better fuel mileage. And then some of us have APUs, and for idling, you reduce your idle time. APUs really do make a big difference. It's usually on an over-the-road truck about a mile to the gallon difference, which at $5 a gallon, it's to add into the savings. And then I've noticed too that Lauren, you might have something on this. I've noticed oil shortages. Are they prioritizing fuel and gasoline over motor oil and gear oil production?
No, not that I've heard. It's probably more of a distribution situation than anything, but I haven't heard that. I'll be happy to, ask some folks about that. But
yeah, we just noticed that. I mean, maybe people are just buying a lot more of it. I know when I see it, I tend to stock up because it's only going to go up in prices. Oil prices go up, so it's good to have that stuff, in stock. And I think that's about all I have.
Okay, we may come back to you with some questions, Don, but again, thank you for being on the call. I think most of you know Don is an owner-operator for Ace Doran and is also the recently elected chairman of the Drivers Advisory Board. So Don's a real valuable asset and resource for Ace Doran. So Don, thank you. Let me just mention a couple of things that, as a company that we're trying to do to help. I think Chad mentioned Lee Gentry earlier and our Bennett relationships with the major fuel suppliers. Lee has been in touch with them, literally daily since this started, and passes that information along with us. We're talking to our customers, we're talking to our agents, we're talking to our company stores, asking everyone to keep in mind at the end of the day, you guys are paying the fuel bill here, and we need to get more money in your pockets to do that. Chad was just telling me a story actually this morning. We were talking on the way to work about a fairly large project that we bid a few months ago, and the customer called yesterday and I guess has asked us to sharpen our pencil. And I said, and I didn't tell Chad anything. He and I agreed, how in the world can we do that right now? We're not going to do that right now. The rate is what it is, and the surcharge is going to have to go up to compensate for the fuel. So really the purpose of the call, again, was we just want you to know that we're not insensitive to this. We see and know what's going on out there, and we want to partner with you. We've got to keep our customers and keep everyone as happy as possible, but at the same time, we've got to keep you solvent as well. So that's what we're trying to do. So star 3 for questions and comments. Chad, you want me to take a few and then go to you?
Yeah, no, you can go ahead and take. I've already pretty much said my piece, but you can go ahead and looks like we got a couple in the queue.
Yeah, looks like Mike Newland. Good afternoon, Mike. How are you?
Good afternoon, fellas. A timely topic. What I'd like to know, probably from Lauren, is how does inflation, I think that the price of a barrel of crude is tied to the United States dollar based on it. How does the inflation that's going on in this country affect that crude price per barrel?
Well, you're exactly right, because we see that all the time in terms of the value of the dollar. So we watch that and keep our ear on that. When that dollar's affected, that means we can't keep supplies, because when it's going up and the dollar's going down, that's not a good thing for us. So
there's not much we can do on the driver's side other than as Don could just slow down and watch the miles per hour and kind of conserve the fuel.
Yeah, I think Don hit on the biggie. I used to be the fuel conservation guy at another company, and it's all about speed, and less resistance going down the road. And then the real killer, of course, is the idle. This time of year, it's hard to control that, but if you do have an onboard alternative, that's the best way to do it. We do know that the burn rates, depending on the engine, but I've always used like 3/4 of a gallon to 1.25 gallons for every hour that you idle the truck. And I guess the worst thing is really the wear and tear, where it's equivalent to about 100 miles an hour, So shut them off when you can, and watch your speed when you're under a load. And that's a real good thing to do. Also, and I say this, and I've got 30 years of historicals on it, but I failed to mention that on the fueling strategies, we know that that you'll average 3.5 to 8 cent gallon savings if you follow those. In other words, if you partial only and you wait, or if you don't fuel, you'll gain at the end of the month, simply not buying on the dips what it amounts to. So
Excellent. I love it. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, fellas.
Okay, Mike, thank you. Looks like Al Miller's next in the queue. Al, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you guys today?
We're doing good. How about you, sir?
Doing good. So to touch on what you guys were talking about with the shortage of oil at the truck stops, I've been seeing that a lot. Also, I've been seeing it at the stores a lot. And it's got to be a distribution problem, because some of the truck stops don't even have the filters that they need to do an oil change. Been seeing that a whole bunch. The other thing I have is, there any plans in the future to change fuel book to put routing in there? Because like if we're going across Interstate 20, really not concerned with how much fuel is up on Interstate 40. More concerned about what's lying ahead of me than somewhere else in the state, So is there any plans to address that and put routing on fuel book?
That's a good question. I'm not sure we've got the right person in the room to answer that. Chad, do you know anything about that?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
It wouldn't be anybody in this room that changes the routing. There is a routing guide in the fuel book, but it's not that long unless you're setting at a truck stop. If you're doing a truck stop, it'll take. But you can type in LA to Chicago, and it'll give you the route. But it's not specific like I think you're wanting. I will tell you that we've been in conversations about building our own, in terms of, for lack of a term, our own fuel book. And to be honest with you, I don't think Tim's on here, but we are looking at that real hard, where we can put that together. But I have a few things that I'd like to see it do a little bit better. And certainly once we get to that point, we're going to want you guys input too, because y'all use it every single day. I use it every day, but not like you guys.
I use it very much so. But the other thing and maybe I'm not using it right since we got the new fuel book, but I'm not seeing what the discount is. The way it used to be, you could see the pump price, and then you'd see what the discount was and how much of a discount you're getting. And all I'm seeing now is a discounted price. I'm not seeing what the actual pump price or what the discount is. If you're understanding what I mean there.
Yeah, I understand. Alexander, do you know what he's given input on that?
Yeah, I mean, with that recent update, I know everybody's probably experienced that recent update where it got a whole facelift and everything else. It's been acting a little bit differently. I believe what you could do is press on the truck stop, and it gives you the breakdown of what that actually is. It might say at a glance your discount, and then you have to press on it to see the full thing. I haven't been able to play around with it too much to know. I don't know if Lauren has, but I do know that with that big overhaul, we've had a lot of odd things. So I'm not too sure. I can get back with you though on that.
Okay.
Also, on that, if you go to your EFS app, and you update it to the new card control, it has some route options, because you can put in your current location and your destination, like Indianapolis, and it'll give you a couple routes. But you can also put in there now on the card control app if you prefer tolls, border crossings.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of detail, and you just have to find a town, maybe past where you want to go, or, and it's usually a little bit bigger cities, but I haven't played around with how small of a town you can get to on that. One is giving you a little more information, and you can also go and get, like, in an area that we don't have any discounts, it's still giving you the price for some of that, so that if you just had to buy fuel out of network, you still could with the card control app.
Sure.
Hey, Al,
Okay.
and not just Al, but everybody that's on the call that does utilize the Fuel Book app, you can do, I think, up to 12 states. So if you're going from, like you were here yesterday, Al, so if you're going down to Arkansas, you can do those states that, or that you might be able, when you're sitting here in Cincinnati, that you think you might be able to route to, and it'll give you the pricing, in those states.
Okay.
So there is, you can't do a full route, but you can do, it'll pull up, I'm looking at it right now, I just did, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. But the only problem is it's going to pull all those prices, not specifically on that route, but if you put an origin and a destination in there, there is some options there too. So next time you're in Cincinnati, come see us. We'll help you through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, that was
I'll
all I
tell
had,
you
and I
what,
appreciate it.
Yeah,
we've
one
got-
thing on that, you can also search state and interstate routes. So if you want to check I-75 in Ohio, Tennessee, and Kentucky, you can check all the prices on a specific interstate. And I think you can just also go by interstate and you get all the prices across I-80 from east to west as well.
Okay, because that's what I was trying to figure out, and I couldn't figure that part out, and that was that was the point, and you answered it. So I'll have to sit down while I'm at home and mess with it and see if I can figure that part out. And
yeah, and if you have any,
go ahead.
if you have any trouble with figuring out how the apps work or anything that we use, you can always contact any of the members of the driver advisory board, and I think all of us can, help you walk you through any of that we use on, Fuel Book and stuff like that. And you can find our number on the Driver IG website.
Okay.
All right, Al, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Got about 5 or 6 more drivers in the queue, so let's try to move through. Fred Barnhart. Fred, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. This is my first time ever being on this with you. But to touch back to what that gentleman was asking about on that Fuel Book, he couldn't find the discount. I'm looking at one right now, and this is at the Loves in Bushton, Missouri. The retail price is $5.04, $5.049. The pump price is $4.018, and if you just tap on the fuel stop, it will bring it up, and it's savings over there today of $1.03 per gallon.
Got it.
Off the price. And
that's good information,
yeah.
Fred. I appreciate your calling in today. If this were a radio show, we'd say, like, what do they say? First time caller. First time, long time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well, this conversation, I just started with you guys this last week.
Oh, good. Well, welcome to ACE. We hope your first week's been decent, other than the fuel prices, of course.
Well, I haven't been fueling up. I've been in this business for 31 years, so I kind of know the ins and outs, and I just been getting enough fuel to get to my my next delivery, and it seems to be working out. But
yes, sir. All right. Well, again, welcome to ACE, and thank you for calling today. We appreciate it. Looks like we got Vincent Lee. Vincent?
I was paying attention to some of these prices, man, that these brokers are doing, man. They out here lowballing, man. Like, I had a hard time out there in Dallas and Oklahoma, man. They just lowballing like crazy. And they don't want to come up on the price.
Well, my advice to you there is, quite honestly, most of the people on this call are independent owner operators. You're independent contractors, and at the end of the day, you hold the hammer. If If somebody's offering you a load that you think the fuel's not high enough or it doesn't suit you, there's nobody making you haul that load, especially if it's a broker. Some of our customers were, contracted and we're discounts surcharges are what they are. But in my opinion, if somebody's trying to lowball you, don't haul it. Chad, you had a comment?
Yeah, and to that point, Vincent, what we've seen over the last, the trend lines in the van market have been falling back into the customer and the broker's favor over the last 6 weeks here. Load to truck ratios at the beginning of this year were 10-1. Now it's down to 5-1. So the van market is starting to shift just a little bit. Not so much on the open deck market, but what I would encourage you to do too is work with Troy and Chuck, as our customers are well aware of the fuel increases, and they're working to increase not only the line haul rates, but also emergency fuel surcharges. I mean, that's been a key topic throughout this week. How can we get more money in our owner-operators' pockets? So I would be strategic with Troy and Chuck, Kerry and Paul, whoever you're dealing with out in Morton, and try to get in on the customer freight, because our customers understand the value of our owner-operators. And sometimes when markets start to shift like they currently are, the brokers are out there, they're servicing their customer, but they're also able to to determine prices and hold out longer. So I would work with the van team out there. They've got a real good grip on what the market's doing and bearing right now. Yeah, Jim is exactly right. If they're not paying you what you think is a fair wage, move on to the next one and reach out to Chuck and Troy and try to get the best opportunity for your truck.
All right,
yes,
Vincent,
sir.
thank you. Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate it. Looks like Mike LaCoussiere. Mike, good afternoon.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
How y'all
are you,
doing?
Sir? Good. How about you?
Oh, could be better, could be worse. Anyways,
There you go.
I've been listening to y'all here talk about this fuel prices and everything else like that. And that's great for the box jockeys and flatbed step decks and everything else. That may be a good scenario for them. But when you get into a big truck and you're pulling oversized, you get 2.2 to 2.4 miles to the gallon loaded. And we can't get into like a Petro or a Pilot or whatever convenience is around. So basically it's kicking us more in the butt, because you're basing your fuel surcharge off of their freight, off of the box jockeys or whoever. But basically we're taking it more and more in the butt every time, because our fuel surcharges don't even come close to, I feel, come close to being able to help support run that truck to get that freight down the road. And I was just wondering if there's anything you all can do about that.
So, Mike, are you talking specifically to discounts in certain areas where you're hauling?
Well, we're on a permitted route. We got to buy fuel.
Are you talking directly about the customer that you're hauling for?
Well, however it would go, we're basically on a route. We don't get the options of just being able to take any way that we want to go into a truck stop. Wherever we get real low on fuel or what have you, we've got a fuel there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if it's $4.79 or $10 a gallon at the closest place that you can get fuel, you got to pay that amount for that price, pay that price for that fuel in order to get that load down the road. And basically, it's kind of wear and tearing on us, because it's coming out of our pocket. And when we only get, like, I know when I was pulling last year something or other, that Tulsa load going out to Thomas or whatever else like that, there was only an $86 fuel surcharge on that. You're running almost 400 miles. And now fuel surcharge might, I don't know yet, but let's just say hypothetically, fuel surcharge is at $200, and you're doing 560 miles or 700 miles. And at 2.2 to 2.4 miles at a gallon, that sure really ain't helping out us oversized drivers a whole heck of a lot. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that can be done about that.
Kind of going back to Jim. Now, on oversized, most of that is quoted by the agent. So if the agent isn't getting the rate that you need to run the truck, maybe you need to work with a different agent in the area or something along those lines. Now, if it's been a rate that's been quoted along, 6 months ago, sometimes agents get locked into that and, they say, well, you committed to that load, you have to haul it for that fuel rate. But, I would talk to your guy and go, hey, I can't work with these rates and these fuel surcharges. And, this is what it costs to run this. And maybe they don't realize that you're only getting 2, but make them aware of that and then kind of go from there.
Hey, Mike, I'll give you a call. Mike, I'll give you a call after this too, because I've seen Lauren Bailey be able to work some magic. If you're doing the same job in a certain area, he's able to call the fuel stops to try it. It may not be as big as a discount, but if you're fueling, if you're going in between wind jobs, back and forth, I've seen Lauren work with fueling stations in between here and there that maybe not give us a discount currently, but he's able to work something if there's a lot of trucks that are going on that route. So I'll give you a call after this and we can talk a little more in depth to it.
All right.
That, Chip. Mike, thank you. We appreciate the call. Looks like Bob Hardesty. Mr. Hardesty, what's happening?
Hey guys, good afternoon. Thanks for the call. I just want to touch base.
How are you?
I am well, thank you much. I am just wanting to touch base. I'm listening to everybody talking about the fuel book and the fuel surcharges. Well, they updated my fuel book, I believe it was yesterday or Thursday, and it just kind of threw me all off. So I've been sitting here trying to figure it out when I finally got a chance. And actually, I put in from where I'm sitting to Miami, Florida, and it showed me a good route. I could choose a route, and then it showed me every stop from there to there. And if you hit view list, it shows you the prices at every one of those stops and the discount at every one of those stops. Sit down and learn the system a little bit, and hopefully it'll make it all easier for all of us.
Mm-hmm. You know what we should do, just listening to Bob and some of the other calls we've had today, maybe at the end of our all-call next, couple weeks out, right? Maybe we'll do like a 15-minute, for anybody that would like to stay on the line, do like a 15-minute overview of Fuel Book, especially since it's been revamped and that sort of thing. So we'll talk about that because it sounds like there are some people with some questions.
Or we could have Alexander and Phil put some screenshots together and just send it out to the driving force too.
There you go.
Well, that would help.
Hey, Bob. Well, we lost Bob there, a little technical difficulty. But Bob, hopefully we'll see you in the morning. I wouldn't be doing my safety buddies any due diligence if I didn't mention that we're having a safety meeting here at the headquarters off of Medallion Drive in the morning. I think it kicks off at 8:30 for breakfast. So anybody that's in the area, would love to see you guys here at 8:30 for breakfast, and then the safety meeting will follow that. So sorry to interrupt there, Jim, but want to get a plug in for the safety guys.
Nothing wrong with a plug for safety. Looks like we have 2 more callers on the line, so why don't we take those 2 and then we'll move on, try to wrap things up. Next, Dan Atkinson. Good afternoon, Dan.
Afternoon, gentlemen. I'd go through the whole thing, like, how you doing, but we all, we listen and we already all know. I'd say I've been driving fair to Midland, but, it's too expensive to go to Midland now. I got to stay right in fair.
That's good.
So, right now, traffic, not great, so I'm saving all the money by taking the back roads. Yeah. What I was mainly calling gotta love people. Impatient. Anyway, squirrel moment. Trust me, they happen. I've found FuelBook to be a bit confusing, so I just don't use it. So that 15-minute thing wouldn't be a bad idea. However, I hear the thing of, oh yeah, well, we're talking about this truck stop's got this fuel discount, and you had made mention about the EFS. I don't care what the discount is, so long as I see the price that I'm actually paying after it's all said and done on EFS. And so, in all due respect to whatever the wholesale discount and all that is, but what's it matter if I get the number I'm actually paying?
Well, you just answered. That's why we do wholesale pricing, because the posted price could be $9. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
it's what the net pricing is. Yeah.
Right. In the EFS, it tells me what I'm going to pay on the card after it's all said and done.
Right.
So it could be $15. God, no, I'm not even going to speak that into existence. It could be $6.87 a gallon. At the pump, but I'm going to pay $3.67. So if it shows me $3.67, well, diggity dog, I'm going there.
There you go. There you go.
All right, good deal.
Well, have a good.
Thanks, Dan. We appreciate it. Next, we've got James Winchester. James, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I have really two simple questions. One question is, I drive some of the ground freight with power only, and I noticed that at the FedEx ground, they have their own pumps there, and I noticed that the price, I don't know how accurate the price was today, but today I saw a price that said $3.26. Will our EFS cars work at that pump?
No. Go ahead, Chad. No, it will not. That is for FedEx ground equipment only, James, and there would not be any way to monitor that pump within our network.
Okay. Well, my next question is also, I also run some freight off the DAT board. Is there a way? Is there somewhere where we can find out what companies, like for example, I know that we can use JB Hunt, Coyote, and different other companies. Do you have a list that tell us what companies we should be looking for when we're getting loads off of the load board?
Yeah, we have a list of, but that list is a mile wide and an inch deep of people that we do business with. You can reach out to me, or I can reach out to you after this call, James, just to kind of give you, because I believe you've been doing power only with Victor and those guys, and they're on a slow stretch right now, but that will eventually pick up here in the next 30 to 45 days. We're hopeful anyhow. So I'll give you a call after this so we can kind of discuss a strategy on best utilizing your tractor on power only moves.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, James. Looks like we've got two more callers, then we'll need to wrap it up. Let's go to Jimmy Bibb. Jimmy, good afternoon.
Hey, guys. Excuse me. Just wondered a little bit off the subject a little bit, but also, is there any plans for in Louisville here in a couple of weeks at the show for like a safety meeting or something we could talk about FuelBuck and EFS and is Lauren going to be there?
I don't think Lauren's going to be there. I'll let Lauren answer that.
No, I won't be able to make it, but I'll be surprised if there's not a rep there from FuelBuck. I'll ask Tom if he's going to that, and I can send Chad a message back on that. So.
That'd be great.
Well,
thanks, Lauren.
You was talking about maybe having a class or kind of explanation deal, something on here. Hopefully there'll be a lot of guys there at the show. Maybe if we was going to have a safety meeting and could get it done there,
That's a good idea, Jimmy. Yeah, because there will be a safety meeting Saturday morning, so we could do a piece in that meeting on FuelBuck. That's a great idea.
And Jim, just real quick, I I think that's our Brian Warren calling in here in a second. He has some more details on that meeting. Well, yeah, we're going to have one Saturday. Tomorrow I have a small piece about Fuel Book. I might amp it up for tomorrow, but I'm going to be there on that safety meeting as well. So I'll be able to help anybody with Fuel Book. And by then I'll be able to actually answer more questions because it was a recent update. So we'll have that going. I guess we'll see you Saturday then. Well, obviously you're going to be in the truck show, so we'll see you before that.
Yeah. All right, Jim. Thanks a million, sir. We appreciate your call. We appreciate you. And last but not least, someone named Brian Warren is on the phone. Brian, good afternoon.
Hey, Jim. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chad, Lauren, Don. I appreciate you all putting this call together today. And as important as it is, even though I'm out on the road this afternoon, I wanted to participate and, some great information. And, if everybody remembers back to 2008, when fuel spiked. So, we all got to be strategic, like everybody was saying. As far as load board freight, the dry van guys, just be conscientious that brokers do post up loads and take them down and post them up to put a gap between that load to truck ratio. So, be conscientious of that. And to speak to, it's funny, Alex actually came into my office the other day and said, hey, Fuel Book got an update. So we did incorporate some slides into the in-person Q1 safety meeting, but Q2, which we are going to do a high-level preview, which we'll spend a lot of time on it because it is such a huge factor right now with the growing fuel price. So in Louisville, there definitely will be a much larger dive into it, as well as some other things. We'll hopefully possibly get a Fuel Book tutorial loaded up on Driver's IG. We should be able to do that. That way, everybody can get familiar with it. But also, I want to remind everybody, take that Q1 safety meeting online. Get that safety bonus. There's still a couple weeks there, so every dollar counts, especially now more than ever.
Awesome. Brian, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for putting this together, and thank all you drivers out there. You are the backbone of the industry and the country, and thank you for all you do.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian. Well said. Okay, well, I think that was the last caller that we had. So, Lauren and Don, thank you guys for taking the time to talk through this with us. And as Brian said, thank you to all the drivers on the line. We really, truly appreciate everything that you do, and just wanted to keep lines of communication open. And we'll continue to monitor this. And if we feel like we need to get back together, we'll do so again maybe next week, or we'll just see how it goes. So, again, thank you all so much. Have a safe weekend. God bless and take care. Thank you all.